Hello, and welcome back to the 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. I'm Katieesiegle.
And I'm Leah Crowley. Thanks for joining us. This strangely warm winter may have some environmental consequences.
3 bands in the community performed in Rhody's Burial and Memorial Union.
And students' study abroad plans are cut short due to concerns over the novel coronavirus.
And we wanted to know what your plans are for spring break. Be sure to stay tuned for Rhody Sports Corner on this week's 5 Cent Cigar Newscast.
There has been an increase of activity on the quad with this nice weather. While the extra sun may improve your morning walk to class, the temperatures could be having some negative effects on the area's water quality. I talked to the director of the Watershed Watch program to find out more.
Climate change is happening. We are seeing it. We are seeing the impacts of climate change.
Elizabeth Herron is the director of the Watershed Watch program.
So a watershed is any of the land area that drains to a particular water body. The program is called Watershed Watch because while we are monitoring individual water bodies, we monitor a lake or a pond or a river site, what we're really trying to understand is not only what the condition of that water body is, but what's contributing to that condition. We can help communities understand things that they can do to improve the water quality downstream. Our volunteers will lower over the side of a boat and they'll just lower it.
The Watershed Watch program relies on volunteers to collect data.
From families to senior citizens, anyone can volunteer at the Watershed Watch program. No scientific background is necessary.
We train them and equip them with equipment that has been specifically designed to give us very precise, effective results, but that's easier to use.
This year, volunteers may be observing some negative effects from the unusually warm weather.
We've had two winters in a row that have been unusually warm. So that has some impacts because water has a great capacity to hold heat. The water hasn't frozen, or we've had very little ice cover. The lake that I monitor, there's still plants growing in February, and that's very unusual. Algae that normally would die off over the winter and wait until a certain temperature are going to start earlier. The animals that depend on them don't start reproducing, or if they're migratory, don't show up until later in the season, and their primary food source has already kind of gone by. It's going to have an impact on the animals in how successful they are. By the waters warming up earlier, it just kind of shifts everything. And we are seeing impacts from increased cyanobacteria blooms, which produce really green, yucky looking water. And in some cases, it can actually be harmful. We have some species that create toxins that can actually impact humans and particularly pets.
Herron acknowledged URI's efforts to improve water quality.
A lot of this part of campus in particular has got a lot of low impact development practices in place. So instead of having a gutter off the roof, taking the water and rushing it out to a storm drain, they're redirecting that water into kind of what looks like little, almost like ponds. URI is trying really hard to mitigate its impacts too, which is nice to see.
The URI Musicians Guild is an organization on campus that aims to support music by providing local musicians with opportunities to perform for the URI student body. The Guild put on a concert last Friday in the Union's atrium featuring 3 different bands, Jitto, Chip, and Cavalier. Jitto, based out of Fitchburg, Massachusetts, played their debut EP for the crowd of nearly 60 in attendance. Chip played next, bringing a more mellow style to the crowd. And lastly, the Scituate-based band Cavalier finished out the night.
The novel coronavirus continues to affect URI study abroad programs. In Italy, 49 students were pulled from their programs and sent home, as well as 1 student who was pulled from South Korea. In addition, the alternative spring break trip to Guatemala has been canceled. The university is working to find alternative locations in the U.S. for the 12 students in that program. According to Rhode Island's Department of Health, there are currently 2 presumptive positive cases of the novel coronavirus in the state. The CDC maintains that there is little immediate risk for most people in the United States of contracting the coronavirus. In a statement, URI reminded the campus community that seasonal influenza is widespread and that the preventative measures for the coronavirus and the flu are the same. It is important to wash your hands often with soap and warm water, Sneeze and cough into your elbow. Don't share food or utensils, and wipe down things like door handles, keyboards, and your phone.
With spring break approaching at a snail's pace, Liv Ouellette took to the URI campus to find out students' ideal destinations for the week off. Here's the campus chatter.
With spring break approaching, I took to the URI students to find out the ideal spring break location and what their spring break plans are. So what are your plans for this spring break?
This spring break, I'll be going to Fort Lauderdale through Pent Group, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
So what do you think is the best spring break location?
Miami.
And why is that?
I feel like at least 25% of everybody who's leaving here and going to spring break going to be in Miami. So if you're trying to have a good time, just go to Miami Beach. You're definitely going to see people you already know there. Yeah.
What do you think is the best spring break location?
Szabo.
Why is that? Just cuz?
Yeah.
So what to you is the best spring break location?
Most likely Hawaii.
And why is that?
I think just hanging out by the sand with your homies, playing some sports by the beach is a very nice spring break activity.
And now I'm going to pass it over to Nolan Reilly for the Rhody Sports Corner.
Another week, another Sports Corner. I'm Nolan Reilly. Let's get into it. It was a busy week once again in the University of Rhode Island athletics, with track and field hosting the Atlantic 10 Championships, men's basketball also hosting number 3 overall Dayton Wednesday night, and plenty to catch up on the diamond. Starting at the track, and how about some more hardware for men's track and field head coach John Copeland? The Running Rams were able to win their 5th A10 indoor title in the past 7 years. Anthony De La Santa won the 400 meter with a time of just under 49 seconds and was also runner-up in the 200 meter. Rhody won both the 4x800 and 4x400 relays with times of 7:44 and 3:17, respectively. Overall, the men's team collected 180 team points, outpacing second-place George Mason, who finished with 168 total points. On the women's side of the track, Rhode Island was able to secure a top 3 finish, finishing in 3rd place with some terrific individual performances. Christina McClure won the 60-meter with a time of 7.52 seconds, and no surprise here, Lotta Black once again defending her mile title, winning the mile with a time of just over 4 minutes and 52 seconds. Black also finished runner-up in the 800-meter with a time that was just over 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Now we'll send it down to the Ryan Center as Tyler Krusz has the post-game recap following men's hoops big-time matchup with the Dayton Flyers.
4 years and 127 games ago, Jeff Doughton and Cyril Langevin first suited up for the Rhode Island Rams, and today they enjoyed their last game at the Ryan Center. It was a little extra motivation with the senior celebrations before the tip, as if they needed it. Number 3, Dayton, coming into the Ryan Center, was the highest-ranked opponent since St. Joe's came in 16 years ago in 2004. Rhode Island started off blow for blow with the Flyers, tying the lead 3 times and eventually heading into the half down 16 points. They could not withstand Dayton's second half, though, as Jeff Doughton's 16 points were not enough for Rhode Island to overcome Dayton's offense, as the Flyers beat the Rams 84-57. David Cox said now, after losing 4 of their last 6 games, Rhode Island is basically off the bubble for an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament. Head coach David Cox said he told his guys it's time to either fight or fold, and he expects them to fight moving forward.
Obviously, very disappointing loss. Have to give a lot of credit to Anthony Grant and the Dayton Flyers. They are an excellent basketball team. This is not the way I wanted both Jeff and Cyril to go out on their last home game. That's where my mind is and my heart is, to be honest with you, right now.
And it's looking like the Rams will need a conference championship in their future if they want to dance this March. From the Ryan Center, I'm Tyler Krusz. Good 5 Cent Cigar.
And it was a dream week for Rhody Baseball this past weekend, going 2-0 against the 27th-ranked Central Michigan Chippewas and splitting another 2-game series against the 25th-ranked University of Arizona to move to 5-5 through their first 10 games. It was the Rams offense who paced them in the weekend as they scored 37 runs in the 4-game stretch. In the final game of the weekend, a 15-11 victory over Arizona, URI was paced by Xavier Vargas, who finished his day with 2 hits, 3 runs batted in, and was able to draw 2 walks. The Rams' balanced approach at the plate also allowed them to have 10 different batters to be able to drive in at least 1 run in that game. That'll do it for this week's Rhody Sports Corner. For Tyler Krusz and James Singer on camera, I'm Nolan Reilly.
So, Katie, do you have any fun plans for spring break?
Well, Miami and Hawaii sound fun, but I'm going back to Connecticut.
Oh yeah, I have a fun week of doctors and dentist appointments myself. That's all we have for you today. Thanks for joining us this week here at the 5 Cent Cigar Newscast.
And make sure to check us out on rhodycigar.com and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at rhodycigar.
Reporting from Kingston, Rhode Island, I'm Leah Crowley.
And I'm Katie Siegle, wishing all URI students and staff a happy and safe spring break.